What's up, people? It's your boy, I'm Kristen Dom One, and I am back with another video. Comic-Con is come and gone. A lot of stuff was premiered at Comic-Con, but what I really want to talk about and focus on is the DC movies, Shazam as well as Aquaman. Now, you guys know my thoughts and my opinion on the DC universe, how Justice League, the movie, was okay, but it could have been greater if the general audience understand the characters. Of course, the popular ones are Superman and Batman, but I felt like when you talk to the general audience, they were not aware of Cyclops or Wonder Woman, things of that nature. So the way how Marvel did it, they introduced these characters in their own plot, their own story, their own movie, and then formed them all together as the Avengers. I thought DC did it backwards, but they're starting it off right with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman had her own movie. It was a great movie, and there's obviously going to be a sequel. And now they're going to start off with Shazam as well as Aquaman. Now, this is my thought and my impressions of these two movies coming from these trailers. Now, my opinions and my thoughts and my impressions from these trailers shouldn't transcend you into believing that the movie is going to be great or the movie is going to suck. Obviously, when you look at Shazam, it's more colorful, it's more kidful, it's more PC friendly. When I look at the Shazam trailer, a lot of people are going to gravitate to this trailer because they can identify with Shazam, even though Shazam is really not a popular character. Now, remember the rumors about Shazam? Black Adam was going to be a part of this movie. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, was going to portray this villain. And when I watched when I watched the trailer, they made no mention of it. Now I'm hoping that they hold that off for a sequel and allow Shazam, Captain Marvel, that's his real name, Captain Marvel, have his own movie, his own identity, his own plot, his own story, similar to what they did to Wonder Woman. I felt like if you slowly get the audience to understand who Captain Marvel, Shazam, Billy Batson, those characters, when they understand it, they can appreciate it even more. But it kind of reminds you of like, I don't know if a lot of you guys out there like 80s and 90s, superhero cartoon shows. It's going to have a lot of comedic, funny value into it. It's going to be, because, Billy Batson, Captain Marvel has to understand their powers and their training throughout the movie. There is a villain in the movie. But I feel like this movie, a lot of the general audience who's not aware of the comic book universe could appreciate and understand Shazam. It's going New Line Cinema. Can I say that they're going to produce this movie? Okay, which is another key thing and a great thing. So I feel like Shazam, a lot of people are going to, understand this movie a lot more. They're not going to be rushed through the origin of Captain Marvel, and a lot of people are going to appreciate it. If you read the Captain Marvel comics, it was kid-friendly type of comics. You have to understand, Captain Marvel had the mind of a child. Okay, so he comes off as a kid stuck in an adult's body, and the things he say is coming from the mindset of a kid. Okay, he would always smile, things of that nature. He reminds you of the 30s, 40s comic books where the hero would always smile and cut up and things of that nature. Okay, if you have to compare him to an attitude of a hero of, today's movie. He's sort of similar to a younger Spider-Man. Have not developed as an adult yet, and proceed things in a childish like behavior, and that's what you're going to get from Captain Marvel. I feel like the kids are going to enjoy this movie. This could be teetering like a Disney type of movie, even though Disney is not producing it, but it's going to be a PC friendly type of movie. Now, they're going to have Easter eggs in it. They're going to, talk about Batman and Superman, but you're not going to see them in this movie. And this movie is more. It has more light to it, more fluctuation to it, more color to it, more of an ambiance to it. All right, so that's my opinions of Captain Marvel, Shazam. I wish they would just name this movie Captain Marvel, so people could just go ahead and get used to his name. Now, we transcend from that movie to Aquaman, and this is my thoughts and my opinions and my impressions of Aquaman. Now, you guys know I'm a comic book freak. I know everything about comic books, all right? Now, to me, when I look at the trailer of Aquaman, it's more darker, sinister, sort of say. It has a darker edge to it, and they're going to be talking about the origins of Aquaman, the story of Aquaman, and they're going to talk about Aquaman reclaiming the throne of Atlantis, and his villains and things of that nature. To me, it kind of has a mirror image to Justice League. That Zack Snyder type of approach when producing this movie is, like I said, it's a little edgier to it. In Justice League, Aquaman was they portrayed him in Justice League as, a rebel without a cause, sort of say. Someone who really isn't, who you had to talk him into understanding that he really didn't care. All he cared about was the ocean and the wildlife and the fish and the sharks and things of that nature. When you're talking about the ocean, okay, he didn't really care about us as humans. All right, so he had that sort of edge to him in Justice League. Now in Aquaman, they still take that approach, and he's not the king of Atlantis. He doesn't want the throne, but he is, somehow, some way they introduce him that he is the heir to the throne. So finally he decides, you know what, let me plunge all in. Let me go to Atlantis and reclaim the throne. And he has to go through certain things, to ultimately become the king of Atlantis. Okay. To me, like I said, it's darker when you talk about the cinematics, the way how they use the effects when he's in the water. I'm kind of pleased with, you see the hair floating around like they're swimming, but they're talking to themselves like we conduct ourselves on the land, which I felt like that was good. That was cool. You finally get to see him communicate with the fishes and the sharks and things of that nature, particularly when he was younger. Okay, they didn't really necessarily do that. They didn't do it at all in the Justice League movie. The Justice League movie didn't portray, it didn't do favors for Aquaman and Cyborg. I felt like if people understood their backstories, they probably would appreciate those two characters. Okay, but when you're talking about this movie and this universe, I'm sure they're not going to have any additional heroes. They're going to just mold this movie around Aquaman, so people can get familiar with Aquaman. It's more darker than the Shazam movie. Even though kids are probably going to gravitate to this movie, I feel like younger teens and older adults are probably going to be entertained by this movie than the younger children. So when you look at these two movies, the DC universe has two different types of movies for two different types of audiences. Aquaman is going to be more of an adult-friendly type of movie, okay, where you're not going to see too many kids. You might see kids sneaking in there, but it's not that that movie is not going to be portrayed for that audience. And then you have Shazam, that's more family friendly and for the kids, so to say. It's shaping up to be like more of a Disney type of kid friendly Pixar type of movie versus when you look at Aquaman. Aquaman is a little bit more sinister, a little bit more darker. Now, I'm not going to say it's a rated R movie, but it's going to have adult content in it, obviously. Okay, they didn't really go into any fight scenes. I want to see how that plays a part, particularly when he's fighting in the ocean. It's obvious it's set up to where not only there's going to be subplots to this story. The main plot is returning to Atlantis and becoming king of Atlantis, but also protecting the ocean from poachers out there, so to say, that really don't care, that don't appreciate the ocean like he does, as well as him growing up with the land walkers, so to say. Even in this movie, in his younger days, he tried to fit in as a kid on the land, and he just could not fit in because he wasn't made or could understand us as human beings when you talk about land walkers. So ultimately he goes back into the sea, and it also shows why he's a loner, why he really doesn't have faith or trust in others, why he's not a team oriented type of person. And you get that type of attitude from him from this movie, and it makes you understand why he wasn't really all in on the Justice League when Batman tried to get him to join the team to fight this bigger force. Okay, so you get these two movies. Obviously in Aquaman, I forgot the guy who's playing Aquaman. A lot of women are going to like this movie because of the sex appeal aspect of it, okay? But you're going to get a more mature, older audience that's going to gravitate to Aquaman versus Shazam. It's more family-friendly, kid-friendly type of deal there, okay? So that's my interpretations, my reviews of the two trailers. And like I said earlier, these two trailers doesn't mean that both of these movies are going to be hits, okay? It's just my opinions of the trailer, and I feel like DC is adopting the same type of approach that Marvel did with their characters when they introduced them to the movie, when they introduced them into the movie scenes. A lot of people may know Iron Man, but they didn't know Iron Man's backstory. And it's good that they had his own movie so people can understand the origins of Iron Man. The same could be said for Captain America, the Hulk, and I'm forgetting someone else. I apologize if I am forgetting somebody else, but when you talk about Spider-Man having his own, even though Spider-Man wasn't a quote-unquote Avenger, but you can understand the dynamics from his movies as well. Black Panther is an Avenger, and you got to understand fully Black Panther, his origin. I feel like DC should adopt this type of approach when they're introducing these new characters. Okay, let's get them to have this. Let's put them on the big screen so people can understand their origins, and now they can create. Now they become popular and have their own fan base, and then you appreciate them more when you put them all in a big movie. I feel like the Justice League movie is a ways to go. It's not like two years from now. I feel like you're probably not going to see a Justice League movie to maybe 5 or 6 years from now, because you're introducing newer characters in the DC universe, and you're taking your time with the older characters. Okay, I can maybe 4 years. You know, I think 5 or 6 is too long, but maybe 4 years. By that time, you gotten another Wonder Woman movie, which that's probably going to be due. You may get a Cyborg movie. I'm not 100% sure of that. You're definitely going to get a new Batman movie with someone portraying Batman, because Ben Affleck no longer wants to do it. Okay? And you're definitely going to get a third Superman movie, because Batman v Superman wasn't really constituted as a sequel for Superman. Okay? So you're going to get another movie from Batman, another one from Superman. You may, in that 4-year time span, may get another movie from Wonder Woman. I think you should get another movie from Wonder Woman. And you got Aquaman under your belt, and there's a possibility that Captain Marvel may be in the next Justice League movie. Okay, clearly they're going to also add other characters in the DC universe. Now, there is talk. Oh, and a Flash. That's the person I missed. You're going to get a movie from the Flash. Okay. Now, how you're going to get Green Arrow into this, because Green Arrow was also a part of Justice League, and the Green Arrow universe is premiered on the CW. How that's going to work is they're probably going to have a Green Arrow movie, and it's going to be portrayed by a different actor. It's not going to be the same actor from Arrow, even though I feel like if you give him a beard, he can play that Arrow part. He plays the Arrow part to a T on television, but it's something about the unwillingness from Hollywood to have to have a character that was normally a character for television, and now you put him into the big screen. How that really doesn't work. Okay, so you're going to probably see you're probably going to see DC come out with a Green Arrow movie, and it's going to be a different character. I feel like that's the last character you really need to introduce before you do Justice League. Okay, because to me, Cyborg was never, even though he was on the Justice League, he wasn't the most popular character in Justice League. But you already introduced him into this world, so you might as well continue to do that. But you definitely need Green Arrow, Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, and you're going to see other characters like Shazam, and you're going to see these other characters that DC tried to introduce. I think as far as individual movies go, the names I just mentioned, those are the movies you're going to see. But they're going to introduce these other additional characters from the DC universe, make cameos in these other movies. Okay? But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom One, and I am out of here. Deuces.